All right, we continue our conversation around the issue of trucking in South Africa. Let's now turn our attention to the economic impact of the attack on trucks in some of the country's major routes. Joining us now is the Chief Economist at Antswisa Group, Miyelani Mkhabela. Sir, a very warm welcome to you, and thanks very much for joining us here on SABC News.
Thanks, and viewers of SABC.
You're most welcome. The burning of 12 trucks, I mean, it's obviously no small thing. Let's talk about how much an incident like this can sort of affect, the economy at large.
It's 2 years after the 2021 riots that were costed the economy around 50 billion plus.
Yeah.
Multiple deaths, which it was, I think, around 300 to 400 deaths that it caused then. And as well, some of the factories had to close, and a lot of people as well had lost jobs. So we are speaking about 2 years after that 2021 riots, which one can indicate that this will cost the country so much as an ongoing activity, which is a sign that one can say, the truckers are trying to communicate with Department of Labor and Department of Transport to solve the pending issues that are causing them probably to be taking these actions, because when you look back, this has been happening from 2018, 2020, and 2021. And with regard to the cost, we might not have calculated the cost now as just like a few riots that has taken place now. But if this is not solved in time, I think this will cause as well more because the economy is already in serious challenges. But we hope the Department of Transport and Department of Labor could attend to these issues and make sure that what has happened in 2021 does not happen now. But at the same time, we really need to solve this crisis so that it mustn't be like a flagship national strike activity every June in every year.
Yeah, and it's interesting you call it, shouldn't be a flagship strike activity. And, I wanted to talk about, the issue of perception, because that's also now problematic, isn't it? I mean, we're also to worry about how, this looks, to other countries that we perhaps want to trade with, that we perhaps want to do business with. I mean, let's talk about that and how perception can, kind of also cause problems for business and as we say, the economy.
Yes, there are people who are investing in trucks, and when you look at that, departing from investors who are buying these trucks, and they happen to be expensive because most of them, they are ranging at 1.5 million to 2 million, depending on the truck brand that the truckers will be using. So looking at that, if the truck has to go cross-border, then you will start to realize that such an investor will just throw 2 million away. And then it's not really one truck that you will need to run if you are running trucks. So you might as well be expected to have at least about 5 trucks to run a proper business in the trucking industry. But that will jeopardize the manufacturing sector, the retail sector, and at the same time, you will look at it as a negative effect to creating jobs in all the integrated sectors that I have mentioned. So this will really cost the country so much. And I'm shocked that if this happened in 2021 and then as well in 2018, what can be the issue with the Minister of Transport and the Minister of Labor not to solve these issues as urgent as it deserves, because these sectors are linked with the critical sectors that are contributing to the South African
Yeah.
GDP.
I wanted
And
to
you will
say,
not do anything to...
sorry, Mr. Mkhabela, to come in over here. You know, you just raised a thought here. Is there no, over-reliance on the trucking industry? I was reading an article saying that about 80%, of our goods transport is reliant on the trucking industry. Are there no effective ways? I mean, I think at some point we were toying with the idea of, looking at rail to transport goods. And one might even argue that that might even be safer, for other drivers on the roads when you don't have, as many trucks on the road. Would that not be, some sort of a feasible idea? I'm sure the trucking industry would be angry to hear me say something like that. But, are there no other effective ways? I mean, 80% is a large number for us to be using for transporting of our goods. It seems like an over-reliance.
I think you might remember, Flo, we from last year, I think it was around June last year, there was an indication that Transnet has dropped about 25% of its rail lines. I think it's 25 to 33% of its rail lines. So that is automatically a big business that probably had to be moved to rely on the trucking industries or the truckers. But with all that said, all these systems has to work together, because you will look on the transportation of coal and manganese in the key provinces of KZN and Mpumalanga, where these things as well has taken place. You wouldn't really get to have that done on rail altogether. There are small aspects, where we, Transnet linking with like some Witbank, Middelburg, coal mines that are using the belts to just move coal to the power station, but that couldn't be done, at 360 degrees.
Yeah.
So it is an issue that we will need to adapt and manage it well. Solving it is not switching altogether, but solving is to make sure that compliance is attended to, and then all the truckers are complying to the requirements in terms of employment. Because if then they go to use, let's say, employees that are not local resident, it then brought some riots. And you can see that these things are unionized and well organized, because an activity like June 16, like other activities that run on its official dates.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's a big message that really needs the department to work on it in a very soft way, with the relevant stakeholders. And I don't think this is a major issue, but it's an issue of Department of Labor authorizing that the department. So truckers are not really an exceptional skill that will really require maybe foreigners in that sense, as part of the complaints are that. And then we have as well the investors or the business people adapt to that. But it can only be done through norms that Department of Labor can do.